The Galactic Council had been watching Earth for exactly 300 years. They monitored the primitive radio signals, the violent broadcasts, the endless wars between fractured nations. Then, on a cold morning in Geneva, everything changed. Earth transmitted its first faster-than-light signal into deep space. The message was simple: we are here. We are ready. Ambassador Helena sat in her chamber aboard the diplomatic vessel, reviewing the data. She was a member of the Correlation, a species that had welcomed 12 civilizations into the galactic community. Her skin shimmered with soft blue light as she read through Earth's history. Humans were violent, yes. They had killed each other over land, resources, religion, and pride. But they also created beautiful music and art. They wrote poetry and built monuments to peace. Helena prepared the standard welcome package. Medical technology that would cure their diseases. Agricultural methods that would end their hunger. Clean energy systems that would save their dying planet. In return, humanity would join as a junior member of the Council. They would learn slowly, guided by older and wiser species. It was the same process that had worked for thousands of years. The diplomatic ship dropped out of warp at the edge of Earth's solar system. Helena stood on the bridge next to her census officer, Thomas. He was young for this assignment, but skilled. The ship began broadcasting peace messages on all frequencies, in all languages they had learned from Earth's transmissions. How long until they respond? Helena asked. Thomas checked his instruments. Based on their technology level, I estimate 2 to 3 weeks. They will need time to build a shuttle capable of reaching us. Their warp drive is still experimental. Helena nodded. She had done this before. The waiting was always the hardest part. She imagined the chaos on Earth right now. The emergency meetings. The arguments about who would represent humanity. The fear and excitement of knowing they were not alone in the universe. She walked to her quarters and began practicing her greeting speech. She wanted the humans to feel welcomed, not threatened. She wanted them to understand that the galaxy was a place of cooperation and peace. 3 hours later, alarms screamed through the ship. Helena ran to the bridge. Thomas was staring at his console with wide eyes. His hands were shaking. Ambassador, we have contact. But it's not what we expected. Show me, Helena demanded. The view screen activated. Helena felt her blood turn cold. It was not a shuttle. It was a warship unlike anything in the Council database. The vessel measured 3 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull was dark metal covered in angular armor plating. Weapon emplacements lined every surface. Railguns. Missile batteries. Energy cannons that pulsed with barely contained power. And something else. Something that made their tactical computer flash warning symbols in colors Helena had never seen before. Thomas's voice cracked. Ambassador, that ship just crossed the distance from Mars orbit in 4 hours. That's impossible. The acceleration alone should have killed any crew inside. How many life signs? 2,312. All human. All alive and healthy. The massive warship came to a stop exactly 1,000 kilometers from their position. The precision was terrifying. Not a single thruster fired unnecessarily. Not a single course correction. It was as if the ship knew exactly where it would stop before it even began moving. Helena's communicator chimed. A human face appeared on her screen. He was a middle-aged man with short gray hair and calm blue eyes. He wore a dark military uniform with symbols of rank on his shoulders. Behind him, Helena could see a bridge filled with sophisticated equipment and dozens of crew members working at their stations. Ambassador Helena, I presume, the man said. His voice was polite but firm. I am Captain Robert Mitchell of the United Earth Space Command vessel Prometheus. Welcome to our solar system. Helena found her voice. Captain Mitchell, we come in peace. We detected your first warp signal and came to welcome humanity into the galactic community. Robert smiled, but there was something hard in his expression. We appreciate that, Ambassador. However, Earth's unified government has reviewed the terms you typically offer new species. We are not interested in being junior members. We wish to negotiate as equals. Equals? Helena stammered. Captain, you have only just achieved warp capability. Your technology. Our technology is more advanced than you think, Robert interrupted gently. We have been watching the galaxy for a very long time, Ambassador. We intercepted your transmissions. We studied your ships. We learned from your mistakes. And we prepared. Helena looked at the massive warship on her screen. At the weapons that could probably destroy her ship in seconds. At the crew working with calm efficiency. How? She whispered. How did you advance so quickly? Robert's smile faded. We are very good at one thing, Ambassador. We are good at war. We have practiced it for 10,000 years. Every nation, every tribe, every group of humans has spent millennia learning how to fight and survive. When we finally reached for the stars, we brought that knowledge with us. Helena felt fear settle deep in her chest. This was wrong. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. What do you want? To talk, Robert said simply. As equals. Earth has proposals for a new galactic order. One based on mutual respect, not patronage. We hope the Council will listen. But make no mistake, Ambassador. We are not asking permission to join your community. We are informing you that we have arrived. The question is whether you will welcome us as partners or treat us as threats. The communication ended. Helena stood on her bridge, staring at the warship that should not exist. Thomas looked at her with frightened eyes. What do we do? Helena took a deep breath. We inform the Council. And we pray they make the right choice. The emergency session began at dawn on Zenthra Prime. The Council chamber was a massive circular room with seats for representatives from 47 different species. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some saw invisible light, others in radiation spectrums. But today, they all shared one emotion, fear. Ambassador Helena stood in the center of the chamber. Her report hologram floated above her head, showing images of the human warship. The room was silent as the Council members absorbed what they were seeing. Elder Patricia of the Correlation spoke first. Her voice was soft and measured. Ambassador Helena, are you certain these readings are correct? This vessel shows technology levels we would expect from a species with at least 2,000 years of spaceflight experience. I verified the data 3 times, Helena replied. The humans have somehow compressed centuries of development into mere decades. Their ship moves faster than anything in our fleet. Their weapons operate on principles our scientists do not recognize. General Marcus of the Warhost Imperium rose from his seat. He was a massive creature with 4 arms and armor-plated skin. His species maintained the Council's military forces. This is precisely why we have protocols, he growled. Primitive species must be contained until they learn peace. These humans are clearly dangerous. We should act now before they become stronger. Act how? Patricia challenged. They have already demonstrated superior technology. What makes you think we can contain them? We have numbers, Marcus said. 1 ship against the entire Council fleet. The mathematics are simple. Helena shook her head. General, with respect, I do not think you understand. The human captain was not threatening us. He was informing us. There was complete confidence in his voice. I believe the Prometheus is not their only warship. A crystalline being named Resonance chimed into the conversation. He was the Council's chief scientist, his body producing musical tones that were translated into speech. I have analyzed the weapon systems visible on their hull. The railguns alone could penetrate our strongest shields. But there is something else. They have devices that our computers cannot identify. The tactical analysis simply labels them as unknown threat level maximum. Intelligence Officer William projected new data into the center of the chamber. He was human-like in appearance, from a species that had joined the Council 800 years ago. My team has been reviewing all intercepted Earth communications. The humans have been hiding their true capabilities for at least 50 years. They have 6 colony worlds already established. They have mining operations in 3 solar systems. And they have been reverse engineering our probe technology. Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. William continued. What concerns me most is not their technology. It is their thinking. Every weapon system we have analyzed shows something we call lateral innovation. They do not improve existing designs. They invent completely new approaches. For example, they have something called probability bombs. Our scientists believe these weapons alter quantum states to increase the likelihood of catastrophic failures in enemy systems. That is theoretical physics, Resonance chimed. No species has successfully weaponized quantum probability. The humans have, William said quietly. And if they can do that, what else have they created that we have not detected? Council leader Elizabeth called for order. She was ancient even by galactic standards, her species living for thousands of years. We face a difficult decision. The humans have clearly violated the spirit of first contact protocols by hiding their development. However, they have not yet committed any hostile acts. What are our options? General Marcus stood again. We send the fleet. 200 warships in a blockade formation around their home system. We show them our strength and demand they submit to inspections and oversight. And if they refuse? Patricia asked. Then we demonstrate that the Council's authority must be respected. That could start a war, Helena protested. A war we might not win. Unacceptable, Marcus snapped. No single species can stand against the combined might of 4 to 7 civilizations. Fear is making you irrational, Ambassador. Elizabeth raised her hand for silence. Intelligence Officer William, in your assessment, how would the humans respond to a military blockade? William studied the data carefully. Council leader, humans have a saying, the best defense is a good offense. Their entire history shows a pattern. When threatened, they do not surrender. They escalate. Every major human conflict ended not with negotiation but with one side developing a weapon so terrible that further fighting became pointless. They split the atom not for energy but for bombs. They reached space not for exploration but for military advantage. So they will fight, Marcus said with satisfaction. No, William corrected. They will win. Or they will make winning so costly that we wish we had never challenged them. The chamber erupted in argument. Some species demanded immediate military action. Others urged caution and diplomacy. A few suggested simply leaving the humans alone and hoping they stayed in their corner of the galaxy. Finally, Elizabeth called for a vote. All in favor of sending a containment fleet to blockade the human home system while we negotiate terms. 30 voices approved. 12 opposed. 5 abstained. The motion passes, Elizabeth announced. General Marcus, assemble your fleet. 200 warships. The best we have. But you will not fire unless fired upon. We will show strength but offer peace. Perhaps the humans will see reason. Marcus bowed. As you command, Council Leader. As the session ended and representatives filed out, Helena approached William. Do you truly believe they will win? William looked at the hologram of the Prometheus one more time. I believe they have already won, Ambassador. We just do not know it yet. The humans did not reveal themselves until they were ready. That level of patience and planning is more terrifying than any weapon. Helena felt cold despite the warm atmosphere. Then we have made a terrible mistake. Yes, William agreed. We have. The Council fleet arrived in Earth's solar system like a storm of metal and fire. 200 warships from 15 different species materialized around the asteroid belt in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight. Energy shields hummed with power. Weapon systems tracked every human satellite and station within range. General Marcus stood on the bridge of his flagship, the overwhelming Justice. He felt confident. Behind him stretched the greatest military force the Council had assembled in 2 generations. No species had ever resisted such a display of power. Broadcast the message, he ordered. His communications officer activated the transmission. Marcus's voice boomed across every frequency. Attention humanity. This is General Marcus of the Warhost Imperium, acting under Council authority. You will accept junior member status. You will submit to weapons inspections. You will accept Council oversight of your military development. Refusal will result in immediate consequences. You have 1 standard hour to comply. On Earth's orbital station Bastion, Admiral Rebecca stood with her arms crossed, watching the enemy fleet on the main display. Around her, the command center hummed with quiet activity. Officers worked at their stations without panic or fear. They had trained for this moment. Lieutenant David approached with a data tablet. Admiral, we have full tactical analysis. The Council fleet is positioned in standard blockade formation. They are vulnerable to crossfire if engaged from multiple angles. Rebecca smiled coldly. They think we only have the Prometheus. They think we will be intimidated. What are your orders? We show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. Begin the broadcast. Across the entire galaxy, on every Council world, on every junior member planet, emergency broadcasts interrupted normal communications. Billions of beings suddenly saw their screens filled with data. Files. Audio recordings. Video evidence. Decades of intercepted Council communications. The evidence was devastating. Council members exploiting junior species for resources. Technology deliberately withheld to keep newer civilizations dependent. 3 separate genocides of species deemed incompatible with Council culture. Corruption at the highest levels. Treaties broken. Promises betrayed. On Zenthra Prime, Council leader Elizabeth watched in horror as her people rioted in the streets. On the Correlation homeworld, Elder Patricia wept as she read reports of crimes committed in her name. Across 4 to 7 worlds, the carefully maintained image of the Benevolent Council shattered like glass. General Marcus stared at his communications display in shock. How did they get this information? These files are encrypted with quantum security. His intelligence officer's voice shook. Sir, the humans have been monitoring our communications for at least 60 years. They decoded everything. And now they have shared it with the entire galaxy. Before Marcus could respond, Admiral Rebecca's face appeared on every screen in the Council fleet. Her expression was calm but her eyes were steel. General Marcus. The Council will withdraw from this system immediately. You came here to threaten us. Instead, we have exposed you. Your people now know the truth about their leaders. Your junior members now understand how they have been exploited. You have 1 hour to leave. Marcus felt rage burning in his chest. Empty threats from primitives. You have 1 ship. We have 200. Then allow me to demonstrate our capabilities, Rebecca said quietly. Lieutenant David, fire a warning shot at the unmanned station Delta 7. On the view screen, everyone watched as a bright lance of energy struck the small Earth station. It exploded in a shower of metal and frozen atmosphere. You see? Marcus laughed. Your own weapons are no different from ours. Your threats mean nothing. Rebecca's smile never wavered. That was your warning shot, General. Now I will show you ours. Activate ours protocol. Target the overwhelming justice. Deep in the asteroid belt, hidden weapon platforms came online. They had been placed over decades, disguised as mining equipment and research stations. Their power signatures suddenly blazed across every sensor in the system. General Marcus had 1 second to feel fear. Then his flagship simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion. No debris field. No escape pods. The massive warship vanished as if it had never been built. Only a faint heat signature remained in the sensor logs where a 3-kilometer vessel had been moments before. On the second Warhost command ship, the new ranking officer stared at his displays in disbelief. What happened? Where is the overwhelming justice? His science officer's voice was barely a whisper. It has been erased. The readings show causality manipulation. They did not destroy the ship. They removed it from existence. Admiral Rebecca's broadcast continued. That was a causality engine. We have 4 to 6 more, hidden throughout this system. 1 for each council species. They are locked onto your homeworlds. General Marcus is gone. His ship never existed. If you check your records, you will find condolence messages sent to his family 3 months ago. We have rewritten reality itself. Lieutenant David spoke clearly for all to hear. Causality engines remain active. All targets locked. Awaiting orders. Rebecca leaned forward. We built these weapons hoping we would never use them. We prepared for first contact by assuming the worst. We spent 50 years hiding our true strength because we knew that anyone finding us would either try to control us or destroy us. We were correct. Now you have a choice. Leave this system and never return with hostile intent, or learn what total annihilation truly means. In the Council fleet, panic spread like fire. Ship captains began breaking formation. Some activated their warp drives immediately. Others broadcast desperate pleas for mercy. Within minutes, the organized blockade became a chaotic retreat. Admiral Rebecca watched them flee. She felt no satisfaction, only sadness. Lieutenant, power down the causality engines. But keep them ready. Yes, Admiral. Engines entering standby mode. Rebecca looked out at the stars, at the retreating ships, at the galaxy that would never see humanity the same way again. Send a message to all Council worlds. Earth is now a founding member of whatever comes next. Not as junior partners. Not as subjects. As equals. And if they want peace, they will negotiate on our terms. David nodded. Message sent. What do you think they will do? Rebecca sighed. They will accept. Because now they know the truth. We are not the primitives they expected. We are the species that survived alone in the dark for 200,000 years. And we will never be victims again. The galaxy burned with revolution. Within days of Earth's broadcast, junior member worlds erupted in protest. Species that had accepted Council authority for centuries suddenly understood they had been deceived. On 40 planets, governments fell. On 60 more, populations demanded answers their leaders could not provide. The council chambers on Zentra Prime were nearly empty. Many representatives had fled to their homeworlds to deal with the chaos. Those who remained sat in stunned silence, watching reports of their carefully constructed order collapsing. Council leader Elizabeth looked ancient and tired. We have ruled for 10,000 years. In 3 days, humanity has destroyed what we built. Intelligence Officer William stood before her. With respect, Council leader, they did not destroy it. They revealed what it truly was. We destroyed it ourselves through corruption and arrogance. Philosophical debates will not stop the riots, Elizabeth said bitterly. What do the humans want? To talk. Captain Robert Mitchell has requested a private meeting with Ambassador Helena on neutral ground. He says humanity wishes to rebuild the council, not destroy it. Elizabeth laughed without humor. They hold weapons that can erase us from existence, and they wish to talk? What stops them from simply taking control? Perhaps, William said quietly, they are better than we are. 3 days later, Ambassador Helena arrived at Station Meridian, a neutral trading post at the edge of council space. Her hands trembled as she walked through the corridors. She had not slept since the blockade disaster. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw General Marcus's ship vanishing from reality. Captain Robert waited in a simple meeting room. He stood when she entered and offered a human gesture of greeting, extending his hand. Helena hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm but not threatening. "Thank you for coming, Ambassador," Robert said. "I know you must be frightened." Helena sat down heavily. "Frightened? Captain, your species has weapons that rewrite reality. You exposed our crimes to the entire galaxy. You humiliated our military forces. Yes, I am terrified. We all are." Robert sat across from her. His face showed genuine sadness. "I am sorry. We did not want this. But you gave us no choice." "No choice?" Helena's voice rose. "You could have negotiated peacefully. Instead, you threatened annihilation. You sent 200 warships to blockade our home," Robert said calmly. "General Marcus fired on our station. What would your people have done in our position?" Helena opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. She thought about the Correlation's own history, thousands of years ago when they were young and vulnerable. If a powerful alliance had threatened them, demanded submission, fired weapons at their stations, they would have fought with everything they had. "We would have done the same," she admitted quietly. Robert nodded. "We are not monsters, Helena. We are survivors. For 200,000 years, humanity was alone on Earth. We faced ice ages that should have killed us. Plagues that wiped out half our population. Asteroids that nearly ended our species. We survived because we adapted, because we prepared, because we refused to accept extinction. But causality weapons? You can erase people from time itself." Robert's expression grew dark. "Do you know why we built them? 20 years ago, we intercepted a council transmission. It was a debate about whether to allow Earth to develop warp technology or sterilize our planet before we became a threat. The vote failed by only 3 votes. 3 votes stood between humanity and extinction." Helena felt cold. She had not known about that debate, but she did not doubt it had happened. Robert continued. "We realized the universe was more dangerous than we imagined. Not because of monsters or evil empires, but because of civilizations that would destroy others simply for being different or inconvenient. So we prepared. We built weapons so terrible that no one would dare attack us. We hoped we would never use them." "You did use them," Helena whispered. "You erased an entire ship. General Marcus fired on our station. He threatened our world. He gave us no choice." Robert leaned forward. "But here is what you need to understand. We did not erase his crew. We erased the ship from this timeline, yes. But in another quantum branch, that ship still exists. The crew still lives. We do not kill if we can avoid it. Even our most terrible weapons are designed with mercy." Helena stared at him. "That is not possible. Causality manipulation cannot be selective. It cannot be, with council physics. But we approach problems differently. We think laterally. We invent solutions that others believe are impossible." Robert pulled out a data tablet. "Which brings me to why I asked for this meeting. Humanity wants to propose a new galactic order." He activated the tablet, showing a document. Helena read through it slowly. Her eyes widened. "You want to dismantle the council hierarchy completely? Give all species equal votes regardless of age or technology level? Share all technology freely? This is madness." "This is fairness," Robert corrected. "The old system created resentment and rebellion. Our system creates partnership. And your weapons? The causality engines? Will remain active but under joint human council control. Both sides must agree before they can be used. We do not want to be galactic tyrants. We want to be partners in survival. Helena read the proposal again. It was radical. It was terrifying. It was also, she realized, probably the only way forward. The junior species would never accept council authority again. But they might accept human leadership, because humanity had proven they would fight for equality. Why are you doing this? She asked. You could simply take control. You have the power. Robert smiled sadly. Because we remember what it feels like to be powerless. We remember being afraid of the dark, of the unknown, of forces we could not control. We do not want others to feel that way. We want a galaxy where every species has a voice, where strength protects the weak instead of exploiting them. He stood and extended his hand again. Will you bring this proposal to the council? Will you help us build something better? Helena looked at the hand, at the man offering partnership instead of domination, at the species that had terrified the galaxy but now offered hope. She thought about the riots on her homeworld, the fear in the council chambers, the junior species demanding change. She took his hand. I will try. I cannot promise the council will agree. Many will resist. We know, Robert said. Change is always difficult. But the alternative is the galaxy tearing itself apart. We have seen what happens when civilizations refuse to adapt. We will not let that happen again. As Helena prepared to leave, she turned back. Captain, one more question. What kind of species builds weapons of annihilation but chooses mercy? Robert looked out the viewport at the stars. A species that has seen too much death already. A species that learned the hard way that survival is not about being the strongest. It is about being wise enough to know when to fight and when to forgive. 50 years had passed since the blockade. The galaxy looked nothing like it had before. The old council hierarchy was gone, replaced by the new galactic accord. Every species had equal representation. Technology flowed freely between worlds. Former junior members now stood as equals beside civilizations millions of years older. Ambassador Helena, now elderly even by correlation standards, stood on the observation deck of Zenthra Prime's orbital station. Beside her stood President George of Earth, his hair white but his eyes still sharp. Below them, ships from over 100 species docked peacefully at the station. Trade vessels. Science ships. Cultural exchange programs. And patrolling between them, human warships keeping watch. Do you ever regret it? Helena asked quietly. Building those weapons? George was silent for a long moment, watching a correlation transport dock beside a human merchant vessel. Every single day. But I also remember what we lost before we had them. What do you mean? Before we achieved warp capability, we watched 3 civilizations die. We picked up their broadcasts, their desperate calls for help, and we could do nothing. The Kethra were wiped out by a plague their medicine could not cure. The Mindel destroyed themselves in a nuclear war. The Voshan were conquered by a species that enslaved their entire planet. We were helpless, trapped on Earth, watching horror after horror unfold in the stars. George's voice grew harder. We promised ourselves that when we finally reached space, we would be strong enough to help. Strong enough that no one could do to us what was done to them. The causality engines, the probability weapons, all of it, we built them so we would never be victims again. Helena understood. She had read the human philosophy called peace through strength. It was not about wanting war. It was about making war so costly that no one would start it. The engines are still active, aren't they? She asked. Yes. Still maintained. Still feared. Still locked away except in the most dire circumstances. George turned to her. 4 to 7 platforms hidden throughout Council space. We told you there was one for each original Council species. We did not lie about that. Does it bother you that the galaxy fears you? Better feared and alive than loved and extinct, George said. But we try to balance it. For every weapon we maintain, we share 10 peaceful technologies. For every threat we eliminate, we rescue a dozen colonies. We want to be known for more than our capacity for destruction. A young correlation child approached, holding a datapad displaying artwork from both their worlds. The child looked up at Helena with curious eyes. Are you the ambassador who met the first humans? Helena smiled and knelt down. Yes, I am. I was very scared that day. Why? Humans are nice. My teacher is human. She teaches us about Earth music. We did not know humans were nice at first. We only saw their weapons and we were frightened. The child thought about this seriously. My mom says being strong is good if you use strength to help people. George laughed. Your mother is very wise. What is your name? I am called Melody. That is a beautiful name, Melody. Did you know humans have a word like that? It means pleasing sounds arranged in patterns. Music. The child's eyes widened. Really? We are the same. More than you know, George said softly. Run along now. Your parents are probably looking for you. As Melody skipped away, Helena felt tears in her eyes. That is your real gift to the galaxy. Not weapons. Not even technology. You showed us that being equals means respecting each other. George watched the child disappear into the crowd. We terrified you. We probably still do. But perhaps terror was necessary. You had grown comfortable in your power. You forgot that the universe is dangerous. You forgot that peace must be actively maintained, not passively assumed. And now we build something better together. The Accord has stopped 2 wars before they started. We have saved 6 civilizations from natural disasters. We have made first contact with 12 new species, and every one of them was welcomed as equals from day one. The galaxy is safer, fairer, more united than it has been in 10,000 years. Helena looked at the ships below. Human vessels with alien crews. Alien vessels with human captains. Children like Melody growing up in a galaxy where species cooperated instead of competed. Was it worth it? The fear, the revolution, the chaos. George considered carefully. Change is always painful. But yes, I believe it was worth it. The old system was dying. It would have collapsed eventually, probably in violence. We simply accelerated the process and offered an alternative. The council leader asked me to give you a message, Helena said. She wants to know what humanity wants as payment for protecting the galaxy. What resources, what territory, what privileges do you demand? George shook his head. We do not want payment. We want partnership. We want a galaxy where every species can thrive without fear. Where technology serves life instead of death. Where strength protects the weak instead of exploiting them. That is our price. That is all we have ever wanted. Far above them, in high orbit, the UESC Prometheus hung in space. Its weapons were cold but ready. A reminder of what humanity could do if threatened. A promise of what humanity would do if others were threatened. The ship had become a symbol, visible from the surface of Zenthra Prime. Helena placed her hand on George's shoulder, a gesture of friendship she had learned from humans decades ago. You know what I think? I think the galaxy needed you. We needed someone to shake us awake, to remind us that peace is fragile and must be defended. We needed someone brave enough or crazy enough to threaten the entire council rather than accept injustice. George smiled. We prefer the word determined. You expected a shuttle, Helena said, repeating words that had become famous across the galaxy. We sent a dreadnought. Not because we wanted war, George finished the quote. But because we wanted to survive. They stood together in silence, watching the ships come and go. Humans and aliens working together. Building together. Thriving together. The causality engines remained hidden in the dark, terrible guardians that everyone hoped would never be needed again. But they were there. Ready. Waiting. A final lesson from humanity to the galaxy. Never underestimate those who survived alone in the darkness. Never threaten those who refuse to be victims. And never, ever mistake mercy for weakness. The galaxy had learned. And it was better for it retry.